Hey all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey everybody, how are we doing today? Hope everybody is doing well. The show that we are about to do is going to get spiritually deep. Okay? It's going to be one of them. But before we get into the depth that we are going to get into, I have a real big old surprise for y'all. Y'all ready? Guess what? I got it. See? Now, how did I end up getting the plaque? Interestingly enough, so I told y'all how a couple years back when I actually got to 100,000, I'm trying to figure out where my plaque at. So what they are supposed to do initially is to send you like a redemption code for it. I never got that, which is what made me go through their customer service, which, you know, I was tussling with them people almost a year back and forth through emails. I never got no resolution for it. I just ended up dropping it or whatever. So last week, for all of you who actually do content on YouTube, if you go into your YouTube studio, YouTube has its own AI. Okay. So I don't even know what made me do it, but I clicked on the AI thing because I was going to complain. And I asked the AI, like, you know, I never got my creator award. Like, why did I never get that award? What was stopping me from getting my plaque? And the AI popped up immediately with the redemption code. They were like, oh, you have a redemption code that never got used. So they was like, if you put in this redemption code on the creator award site, it'll give you your award. So I'm like, but I did it though. I'm like, let's see if this worked. So I did it and it was like, okay, what's your channel name? I'm like, they gonna let me put this in here? So, you know, you gotta type your channel name, blah, 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 whatever you want on the plaque, whatever name you want on the plaque. And it went through. It was like, oh, okay, we'll do your plaque up and then we'll give you your tracking number and blah, 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 blah. I almost didn't believe it. I'm like, oh, that was way too smooth. Listen, the people all them years ago when I crossed the threshold could have simply given me a redemption code, which is actually part of what I asked for. And they never did it. AI was like, oh, no, you got a redemption code attached to your channel. Here, just all you got to do is use it. Listen. I'm like, y'all really gave me this dang on plaque? I've been tussling with y'all about this plaque. I've been low-key mad. Like I let it alone, but it was bothering me. Because y'all know it was bothering me because every once in a while I would mention it and go on a rant about the plaque. But I finally got it. Here it is again. And I wanted y'all to be a part of it because y'all are my subscribership. And I don't get this plaque without y'all. Right? I don't get this without y'all. So I don't have my stand yet to display it on. I don't have that yet. So we just gonna put it right here. Let's see if it can stand up right here. We're gonna put it right there for right now. We put it right there for right now. But I'm gonna get a real stand or put it up somewhere behind me so that it could just be there, because I'm not gonna leave it there. Okay, so that was the happy announcement that I wanted to make. I wanted y'all to be part of it. It's 3 or 4 years in the making, but still, right? Because y'all rocked with me. Y'all was mad with me. That's how you know you got a good subscriber base. Y'all was mad with me. And I appreciate that. I actually appreciate that. I appreciate y'all more than y'all know, I think. Because I only like to be here because of y'all. I only like to be speaking to y'all because y'all show up. I appreciate all my day ones. I appreciate my day now. Whenever you heard of the Crimson Cure, whenever you subscribed, whenever you listen to me be loud and with my Chicago slang, and y'all was like, this chick crazy, but I'm gonna listen to her. I thank all of y'all. Thank you so much for the super chats y'all coming through already. Thank you, Top Boxing said gonna break out the popcorn. This is gonna be good. It is gonna be good, and it's going to be heavy. Thank you, Ruminant. Thank you so much, Ruminant. Ruminant been there the whole time. Thank you so much. Say congratulations. Happy for you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. You know what? Like I love y'all. Y'all was with me when I was cussing. I remember that. When I was overweight. Doing live streams from my bedroom. Didn't have the production stuff. I didn't have a mic and all that kind of stuff. Y'all was rocking with me when I had a little raggedy laptop and it was going out. And y'all, it would cut the stream off. And then y'all would hang around till I got that stream back up. That's crazy. But I appreciate all of y'all. I appreciate all of y'all for it. Y'all was with me when all you heard was police sirens. I remember that. And I used to have to mute it sometimes. It would be so bad. And y'all would be like, that's all right. I know them police sirens was blocking what I said. I was in the hood too. Just understand that. I was in the hood with the police sounds. I might do a little something in Discord at some point for that. Because I know people be wanting to kind of know that. But the only thing about that is I don't really make soap right now because I don't have the actual space nor the ventilation for soap making. You actually need some air flow because once you start mixing that lye, it's strong. The lye is strong. You definitely can't hover over it. You'll burn your airways doing that. Thank you so much, Prodigy, for your super stick. I appreciate you, beloved. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. I'm not going to dwell too long with the plaque or whatever. Listen, like a sailor, you understand? It's still in me. I just don't do it no more. Not publicly. You know, you got to grow up at some point. Listen, I was in the hood. At one point, I was around not that far off 71st and Cottage Grove. Anybody from Chicago know? I mean 79th. And anybody from Chicago know the 9 and Cottage Grove? Come on. Thank you, TZ. So I don't even remember how I found your channel, but I'm glad I did. Congratulations. Thank you. I'm going to move on because if I keep on talking about how much I appreciate y'all, I'm gonna start crying. So I don't want to cry because this is not the show for me crying. Now, this show is going to probably be more than one part because the subject matter is vast. This lady whom we are going to listen to is speaking specifically on sororities and fraternities by extension. But since she's a woman, sororities. Her sorority specifically was the Deltas. Found the channel in a dark time and helped. Don't make me cry, man. Why you gonna say that? I appreciate it though. And I'm glad that anything that I say help anybody for real. That's what I'm saying. I finally got it. You gotta hit the replay because I tell you how I ended up getting it, because YouTube has its AI, and I was complaining to AI. AI was like, hold on, we got you. I'm like, what? So she is a former Delta, and she apparently is now speaking out as she has renounced the sorority, and she's speaking out about the atrocities of the sororities, but more so from a spiritual standpoint, about the spiritual contracts involved in the sorority Greek organization. Okay. When I heard her speaking about all of the various rituals and things of that nature to be initiated into the organization, I immediately thought about the overall mindset and the overall problem of the Black community. Okay? So many things she was saying have such strong spiritual connotations. And I'm prefacing all of this for my audience. Now, she's going to be speaking from a Christian standpoint. So I want my Muslim brothers and sisters and my non-Christians in the audience to understand that she's going to be referencing Jesus and all of those sort of things from the Christian standpoint. Okay, so just be mindful that that's where she's coming from with that. However, what has happened with these sororities, fraternities, the contracts made spiritually, I immediately made the connection between that and all of the issues that have been perpetuating in the Black community. And I've told y'all that this is spiritual warfare. This fight is being fought not only on a physical front, but more so from a mental and spiritual place. Okay? When the Most High, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warns us in the Bible, in the Quran, about witchcrafts, these other false deities, spirits, demons, forces, whatever name you want to put to that. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala outlaws shirk, kufr, and shirk, disbelief and the worship of things besides Allah, this is strictly forbidden. Hear, O Israel, your Lord is one Lord. Thou shalt not have any other God before me. La ilaha illallah. This is a strict, Allah is very strict on the belief. You cannot join in partnership, in worship, anything with Allah. You cannot join, you cannot worship something other than, you cannot say, oh, it's Allah and then this deity. Nothing. Allah is alone. Alone. There is nothing worthy of worship besides Allah. There is no deity besides Allah. Okay? He has made that very clear. However, he has forbidden the worship of any other being, energy, force, be it corporeal, abstract, anything, nothing. You cannot do iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in to anything else. You cannot seek help and succor from nothing else. Okay? This is very clear. Allah is very clear. He's clear in the Bible. He's clear in the Quran. He's clear every time that he has sent a messenger down. That has been the first message. La ilaha illallah. No shirk. No form of polytheism. None. Zero. Even if you think it's small, nothing. The reason that he outlawed it is because those beings exist. He's not saying that they don't exist. He's naming them. In the Bible, he named them Moloch and Baal and all of these other so-called deities. In the Quran, he named when the Arabs was worshiping Lat and Uzat and all of these other so-called deities. Before Rasulullah ﷺ cleared the Kaaba, there was more than 300 idols in it. Okay? He's saying that they are not God. Not that they don't exist. They exist. He is not forbidding us from something that is fake. Witchcraft, real. The other beings exist. They exist. And if you allow them to have influence in your life, they will. Okay? This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, in Surah Yasin, English interpretation, do not follow in the footsteps of Shaitan. Do not follow. Because he is real. Shaitan is real. And his influence is also real. So when Allah forbids witchcraft, idolatries, rituals, and seances, and so forth, and all of that, paganism and the occult, and all of that, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbids those things, he's not saying they don't exist. He's forbidding them because they do. And people will be drawn towards it because It is a so-called way to get what they want by but also circumventing the accountability and the responsibility of worshiping Allah and adhering to his law. Okay? So they take what Allah, the system that Allah created, and then they attempt to remove Allah from it and work the system anyway. Backdoor. They call it trying to backdoor that. So now, with that preface, we're going to open up with the young lady. Now I'm going to do a little bit overlay for it so that just in case, you know how people do. This is a handy dandy little thing that StreamYards let me do. I was wondering when StreamYards is going to let us do this. Okay.
Description. The more you guys support, the more we're able to produce content just like this. Thank you again. Peace.
That makes me segue into that, because the fear of the Lord that came over me when I understood the level of what I operated in these organizations, I cannot begin to tell you how horrified I was when the Lord revealed the judgment that would take place. I sat there and I took advantage of 17, 18, and 19-year-old girls. See, my story with this whole Delta Sigma Theta situation, a lot of it has to do with all the things that were done to me, but I'm not a victim. I brought over 4 lines and I abused 4 lines full of girls. I manipulated them. Everything that I'm supposed to be doing and I'm doing in the body of Christ is what I was supposed to be doing.
Oh my gosh.
I took advantage of them for I'm not sitting here talking about selfish passes and then no, because I was that wicked leader. I had people who wanted to be Deltas just because I was one. Just because I was one. I sat there and looked at these girls' moms in their face and told them that I was taking care of their kids, and I was sitting there abusing their children, taking advantage of their children. And I'm blowing the lid off of it. Segueing into Delta Sigma Theta, as I stated, on my mom's side of the family, everybody was Greek. And so I was groomed into this. Majority of aunts and godparents, whatever, they was all Deltas. And they were all, some of my mom's line sisters, whatever, future Delta onesies. I'm in the little kid organizations coming up. And it was crazy because I specifically picked the school that I knew hazed. Because I was so normalized to that process, because it talks about, okay, this being something specifically that is pretty normal. It's like a rites of passage, and this is, you want to know that you're tough. You want to make sure that, don't nobody, try you, and you really worked hard for this thing. And I was raised in that. My mom, she pledged during a time where there was a walking line. That means above ground. That means what you see in school days where they were being pledged publicly. Mm-hmm. And then in the 90s, hazing got, like outlawed. And so it went underground. Oh. Okay. And that's where that happened. But a lot of the stuff that you would see in school days where people would be able to be hazed publicly, no, this stuff is ingrained in these organizations. It's ingrained. And so I get to school. I went to Savannah State. Okay. And I'm immediately already knowing the ropes. I'm knowing that, okay, you need to join, freshman class president and do this amount of community service, so you're able to look like, you're a good candidate to pledge. We're not even doing it because we care, for real. We're not even doing it because we care. We're doing it because we want to look attractive to the organization. That's how much of an idol this thing was. Wow. It bothers me when people say, It wasn't an idol. If it wasn't an idol for you, you wouldn't have even gone through the even application process, because the level of what you have to do in the application process is insane. Can you imagine coming up in the church and your application process looks like you got to sit there, let people haze you, do this packet, have all these qualifications? Last I checked, Jesus takes all. So you coming in the comments wanting to disrespect and come into church and call the church a cult, but it was cool for you to sit there and discriminate against people who you didn't like and you don't pick them to be online? Did Jesus do that to you? Did we make you jump through hoops and take you through a pledge process in order for you to join the church? And then you got a nerve to call it a Christian organization on top of that. You got the nerve to say that this thing is based upon Christian principles? How? And so I went to college when I was 17. I was skipped when I was younger. And so I'm there at 17 years old. I was actually the youngest person on my line. But you go through this process called pre-pledging. And pre-pledging is when you...
Now, I'm going to pause her because she's going through it meticulously. This is why I named it part 1, because I'm going to do a lot of letting her flesh out so you can hear it. That's the reason why I gave my preface, because I want y'all to listen to what she's saying, and then I want you to make the connection between why the Black community is so fractured, why we can't seem to get nothing together, particularly, and I hate to point out just the women, but particularly Black women, where these spirits come from. We talk in this space a lot about the Jezebel spirit and this spirit and that spirit. I think a lot of people just hear that and it's fun to repeat it without understanding what they're actually saying and how deep this stuff actually goes. Okay? Because these organizations and Black people's involvement in these organizations, sororities, fraternities, things like the Freemasons, Eastern Star for women, all of these, the Shriners and all of that. I've never wanted to be part of them because the mere idea, and these are secret societies, right? So they never allow outsiders to actually know the depth of the processes that it takes to be initiated into them, that it takes to rise in rank. All right. However, the reason why I'm so confident that this lady is telling the truth is because when you have spiritual discernment, when you are connected to the Most High, and I'm not no saint by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not the most pious Muslim. I'm not a saint. However, I'm serious when I say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. I'm serious. I'm dead serious about that. And I understand it. I understand what I am worshiping, why I am worshiping, and what I am worshiping. Because of that, I understand the process of worship. I understand the process of the spiritual connection. That people are spiritually connected, and they don't always got to be connected to Allah. People are spiritually connected to a lot of different things. Okay? People join things like sororities and fraternities because all they see is the end result. You know, if you are AKA, you can be in an organization that'll help you do this and it's prestigious and it'll be able to, you know what I'm saying? You might be able to use it as leverage for this, that, and the third. The same thing with Kappas and these different fraternities. You might be able to leverage being a part of those organizations into your future life, business, and so forth. Every time I hear somebody explain why they wanted to be a part of a fraternity, sorority, masonry, Eastern Star, all of that, this is kind of the same logic. But they never tell you anything. They're sworn to secrecy. So outsiders cannot know any of the rituals or anything like that. This is why I prefaced it by saying all of this. Okay? So this is why I'm going to go to a commercial break, but I want to say this. This is why I believe it, because I understand how Shaitan works. And in the different manipulative, insidious ways in which he misguides. So even though I am not and have never been a part of any of these organizations at all, I know what I'm hearing. This lady right here is not lying. She's not lying. Okay. So I'm gonna actually go to a commercial break real quick, and we're going. This is extensive. So I need everybody to go to ashkicking.com. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. Once again, the link is pinned to the top of the chat, ashkicking.com. If you want to keep your skin looking and feeling its absolute best, then you need the body butter on screen. If this is going to be your first order, please take advantage of the 10% discount using the promo code Crimson at checkout. Oh, you guys are bam, 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 bam. You got to hit the like button. Bam, bam. You got to I think I went through all of the super chats. Thank you for Quiet Faith, been a member for 21 months. So you're the perfect person to review this topic. Congrats on your plaque. Thank you so much. All right. And we're going to, here we go.
Never really saw anything like this before. How do you know when you're doing the proper push up? You gotta go all the way down, chest touching the floor, coming back up full extension. But now that you told me how to do it, now how you know when you're doing it? You don't know, and you won't know unless you have what it is. Nah, that was fine. That was fine. And make sure it keeps you accountable. Accountability is everything. So
incredible. You can't cheat.
Great.
You go all the way down and all the way up, and that's one solid rep. Good money.
That's it. It's no arguing, no debating, no questioning. All the way down, all the way up. You got to start and finish the same way. She got my shit. I'm glad.
Fucking crib right now.
All right, the link is pinned to the top of the chat to get your VIP exclusive offer and become a member. Theproperpush.com/VIP to lock in your VIP spot. There's only 100 spots that we're asking, but we're asking for everybody's email in order to support, because we are going to open up a Kickstarter campaign, but we need everybody's email and signature and just overall general support. But one of the ways that you can support is unlocking your VIP exclusive offer. And the way that you do that is clicking the link at the top of the chat, put your email in and verify it. Once you do that, you will be sent an email to reserve your VIP spot. And it's going to let you know what the perks and benefits are, which is 20% off the proper push when the product is ready to launch, exclusive proper push merch, instant alerts when the Kickstarter actually goes live, and first access to early bird Kickstarter rewards. So you want to lock that in by clicking the link at the top of the chat, theproperpush.com/VIP. All right. Okay. So let me go back over here. Okay. Now, let me say this. Anybody who is a part of fraternities, sororities, and they don't like what this young lady is saying about the specific process of becoming a Delta, but then the general concept of joining these organizations and what it actually means to do that. Anybody that's here, you're not arguing with me. I'm not even here to argue with you. If you like it, I love it. Okay? If you are a Kappa and you love that, okay. If you are AKA and you love that, okay. If you a Delta and you love that, okay. And any other fraternity or sorority, any other Freemasonry, I don't care. But that's not going to stop me from letting this young lady speak about that experience and highlighting the spiritual side of that. Because first of all, it's a Greek organization. They have to, at some point, delve into or touch on the Greek pantheon and mythology. Otherwise, what makes it Greek? And why Greek? Not that any other pantheon would be more acceptable, but I'm just saying. So they tapped into that energy for what? If it was just organizations that are about community service, the welfare of the community, blah, 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 why is the Black community not thriving? It's enough of them. It's enough sororities and fraternities that Black people are a part of across this nation, that if they're one of their biggest missions or soul missions was the upliftment of the community, community services, things of that nature, why the community like it is? We almost non-existent. The level of debauchery is crazy. And I'm not blaming the debauchery on the organizations. I'm just saying it's enough people a part of these organizations that done graduated from college and all that kind of stuff, met some type of success. Because I'm gonna be real with you, every time I hear about AKAs AKAs a few years back was busted for having a prostitution ring. Let's be real. And since I don't have no loyalty to none of them, I don't care to speak on them. I don't care about speaking on them. Them AKAs, I forgot which city it was, which chapter it was busted for being having a whole prostitution ring going. Just had a incident about a month or so ago with Trick Daddy doing a show hosted by the AKAs. She came out trying to slander his whole name. You invited Trick Daddy to your event. Then all of a sudden Trick Daddy was too crass for the event. You don't know who is Trick Daddy? It was the gaslighting for me. So see, when I hear little things like that, it make me give a whole side eye, because what y'all be on? Why would y'all, any sorority or fraternity, be involved with any kind of foolishness like that, especially a prostitution ring? A prostitution ring? Not one or two women was hoeing and they happened to be part of the sorority. No. The sorority was organizing it.
Need to go around the school and you got to get to know the members, and you basically got to allow them to humiliate you. So I
thought it would keep my thing up there. I guess not. Yeah, there it is.
got to see sister so-and-so in the cafeteria, walk up to her and allow her to humiliate me in front of the whole cafeteria. And I got to keep coming back. See, this is how they get you into the process, because they want to see who will take that, because those are the people that they're going to pick to be online. And so the line that I was a part of was already picked before people even went to the informational, which was called a rush, because we had a group of us that was already pre-pledging and was already knew. So even in that, is that Christian? On top of that, I was an unbeliever. I pledged in 2007. I didn't get saved until 2016. I hated church. As a matter of fact, I almost didn't come to some of the rituals because it was done in a church. They set up the altar and they put it at the front of a church and they desecrate the altar.
Whoa.
Yes. In a church. And so now we go into the informational meeting. You have to get a packet. You have to go through an interview. And while you're going through, the packet was so specific that at the time I had to get a typewriter to write in between the packet, because you couldn't write on it with your pen or a pencil. And at the time, we didn't have the stuff back in 2007 where it could be typed or whatever, like an online form. So I had to get it and take it through a typewriter. And I had to get like 3 to 4 people that looked over the packet. And you have to get a Delta that's a part of the organization. At the time, that was a lady who was my godmother, who was a chaplain, one of the national chaplains for the organization. So you have to go through all these hoops in order for you to look like a candidate on top of the GPA that you have to have. You have to go through all of this. Now, Jesus went through all of that, so we don't have to. But we saying that this process, even before we go through all the rest of the stuff, is Christian. I have to make myself be presentable, and they need to take the cream of the crop, the best of the best for their organization. How is that of Christ? And God forbid you messing with one of their boyfriends or you whatever, your packet is thrown out on day one. Thrown out on day one. Thrown out. You can be a freshman that just got there and didn't even know that dude was dating somebody, and you're immediately barred. You have to have a squeaky clean character, but after you cross, you can be busting that thing open for whoever, huh?
Now, I'm going to comment on this part of it. she's talking about who you have to be in order to be attractive to the organization, in order for your application to even mean anything in the first place. Okay. And it is very important that she's saying you have to be clean. You can't defile something that's dirty. In order to defile something, it has to be clean first. Okay. Okay. You will hear her talk about they had to wear white. See, this is all symbolic of purity being turned into something else. Okay. Because she said, once you cross over, you can be anything, busting that thing open and all of that. You can be as debaucherous as you want to be after the fact. Okay? So you need to be naive. From what she's saying, she is explaining that there is a above ground and an underground form of initiation. And she is specifically talking about Delta Sigma Theta. Okay. But I doubt they're the only ones that do something similar. So she's saying that there is an above ground and then an underground initiation process. The above ground process is for those who don't go through the underground process of hazing and so forth. Okay. From what she explained, the above ground process is the national process that anybody from any chapter at any school where the deltas are at would have to go through as an initiation process. So she's explaining it in two different ways. She's explaining the above ground process first, and then the underground process secondly. Okay. So the way I understood it was the above ground process was the process that they were not afraid for kind of to be the public facing way. Even though from my understanding, initiates and pledges are not to reveal what they go through to outside people who are not pledges. This is what I'm gathering. And she's not the first person that has said that. That when you are initiating, when you are a pledge, you are not allowed to reveal or disclose the different various processes and initiation rites and whatever it is that you're going through and however it is that you're being initiated. You can't disclose that and just freely talk about that to other people who are not being initiated. One other thing. As she going to talk about it, you will hear her talk about all of these various rituals and things. They are meant to break you spiritually, to empty you. You have to empty something in order to fill it with something. Okay? Similar to how the Most High, this is God's process, actually. This is why she's calling it a mockery of God's process. This is why witchcraft is a direct mockery of God's process. Okay? It is a mockery of it, which makes it demonic. That's what makes it wrong, right? Because the Most High has
a process. Those of us who worship Allah have gone through this process before, probably more than once in our lifetime. Specifically, at the time or during the time just prior to accepting and submitting to the Most High. That process of being emptied, broken, where your life seemed to be chaotic, things are falling apart, things are going haywire. Most people who had to actively accept submission to the Most High and belief in the Most High and worship of the Most High went through this process. Not because somebody else put us through it, but this was just the internal process of Allah removing from our spirit all that which would block him. I told y'all this was going to get spiritually deep. In order to replace all of what we were worshiping, all of the false ideas, all of the false beliefs, all of the fog and the illusions, and replace it with truth, replace it with him. Okay? That is the process of God. That is his process. Okay? Anytime Allah want to bring you closer to him, he actually puts you through a trial. He did that with his prophets. Okay? Every time he wanted to elevate his prophets, he put them through a trial. And they would be elevated even higher, 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 higher spiritually. Anybody coming close to Allah has undergone this process. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. Undergone this process. Trials, tests. Things don't look good. They don't feel good yet. Through perseverance, Allah says, seek his help with patience and salah, prayer. Be patient, prayer. And surely this is a difficult thing. Allah encourages us to continue to have faith, trust him, tawakkul in Allah, trust in Allah, trust Allah's process. Because he's trying to remove something from you that would block access to him. Shaitan attempts to mock these things and replicate them in a disrespectful and a dishonorable way. So when she's talking about the breaking of somebody down, breaking your will, breaking your spirit, breaking your sense of self, in order to fill you with something else.
You could be in the club, you could be drunk, going nuts, but before you have to come and present yourself as this. I call it lipstick on a pig because that's what I feel like it is. It's a thing, and it bothers me so much when people say, well, how come you didn't do your research? In 2007, you tell me what research could be done. It's a secret society. If everybody could do their research, how is it secret? Jesus is just now blowing the lid and using members to show you what happens behind the scenes. You telling me that we could have Googled all of this before?
No.
No, you cannot. That's how these people was able to finagle themselves into the church, because on the surface, all we're able to display is community service and strolling. That's it. We're not able to talk about the stuff. If we were able to talk about it, why y'all so mad about it? If people could just do research and find this information out, why are you upset that we are exposing it? How does that make sense? So stop gaslighting people that they should have done research as a 17 and an 18-year-old about all of the stuff that's done. Because the thing about it is, when you enter into this process, which I'll get into, you yourself as a pledge don't even know what you're doing every day. That's how secret it is. You don't even know what you're about to walk in. You're blindfolded walking into everything, and they don't give you a copy of the rituals until after you cross. You walk into each ceremony and they're holding up a prompter card and they tell you to read this and to move on. You don't even know that you getting ready to walk into your initiation that day. And you're going to gaslight people talking about they should have did their research. Oh no, the Lord is tired, because for these organizations have existed for 100 years, and the Lord has given y'all grace for 100 years. And now he has declared judgment. And it bothers me to death, where it's like all these people, oh my gosh, Epstein, the Epstein files. And can you believe they was doing this? And we should expose. No, we're about to expose you. We're about to expose your rituals. We're about to expose what you was doing behind closed doors, what you was doing behind the scenes. You think because you moved on and had a kid and you don't do that no more, that the same fate ain't gonna happen? Because the same way he let Epstein go for years, he let y'all go for years, and the lid is about to be blown off on everything that y'all been operating on behind the scenes too. Nothing is hidden that will not be exposed. The self.
I'm also glad she said that about the research part, because we so quick to say, but you should have known that it was going to be this, that, and the third. No, you shouldn't have. Everybody, most people walking this earth, regardless of age, do not have good spiritual discernment. Most people walking this earth, regardless of their age, do not have good discernment. So how to know? Because see, especially back in the early 2000s, Google how was Google well? And if you ask somebody that's already in it, they already got a script to tell outsiders about what this is about. They're not going to tell you, well, when we pledge, we haze you. That means we can do anything till you're going to have to go through public humiliation. You know what I'm saying? We're going to beat you up, we're going to jump in like a gang, and all that kind of stuff. You want to do it? Most people ain't going to do it. Shaitan never show up. He never show up the way he is. He always show up in a form pleasing to you. A form that you're like, oh, okay. Because if Shaitan show up in the way that he is, and he talk to you and he tell you about what he gonna do, then that's not a deception. Now is it? And how many people would actually do it? Not many. So he has to deceive. He has to lie. He has to come to you as a well-wisher. He comes to you as someone who is looking out for your best interests. He comes to you as someone who is got your back, looking out. Knowledgeable, wise. He's not going to come to you and say, well, you know, I'm Shaitan. I'm here to misguide. He's not doing that. In what world is he doing that? He's the father of what? Confusion and of lies. So, of course, somebody who wants to pledge in a fraternity or sorority, they're not being told all this crazy stuff. They're being told about the benefits. You know, if you join such and such organization, you know, you will be seen as prestigious. You know what I'm saying? You'll be able to have this benefit and that benefit. You know, we are worldwide or we a nationwide organization. You know what I'm saying? You'll be able to have help, support, this, that, a third. All the benefits. You know what I'm saying? You got to do a little initiation, you know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying? The pros outweigh any kind of cons, you know what I'm saying?
Righteousness of you thinking that you could, you know, but he was dealing with kids and so were you. And so were you.
Oh my goodness.
How you gonna equivocate that? No, you sitting over here, a grown man, got a whole family coming back to haze a line of 18-year-olds. So were you. So were you. Let's get into it.
That's the intro?
Let's get into it.
Oh my goodness. Let's talk.
Let's get into it.
So, man, you talked about the way you started this. I'm just frozen. You called it abuse. Why are you calling it abuse? That's a strong word to use when it's just hazing.
So I'm going to take you through the things we've done. And then when I take you through the things that we've done, I want you to let me know if that was just hazing or if this was cult behavior, because my life was a life of cults.
The Devil's Advocate is a movie that came out in, I believe, the early 90s, starring Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino. Al Pacino is the devil in that movie. I suggest y'all to go watch that movie. It's a movie, but it ain't. Because it is an accurate depiction of how Shaitan enters into your space as, again, a well-wisher, a wise mentor, someone who is looking out for you, someone who has your best interest in mind. They don't want anything, you know, they just want to see you win. All the while, you are being manipulated, lied to, gaslit, and spiritually oppressed. Not possession, oppression. Okay? So if you just want a depiction of what we're talking about, that's a good movie to look for the depiction of that.
And I want us to know high levelly, I want us to explain if, number one, Christ would be okay with this. And if it isn't so bad, and if it's not abuse, why won't you allow the public to see it? Why is it hidden? And I know there are going to be people that say, well, I didn't have an underground process and I chose to go the other route of paper, you know, which is the above ground. Well, we're going to talk about that process too. And I want people to know if any of this is stuff that if Jesus Christ was in the room, that he would be okay with the things that were done here. So after we give our packets, okay, That's when we're picked and they let you know that you made the line. You have to go now and go to the store. You have to go buy white bras, white panties, white t-shirt. This is for the underground process, some sweatpants and white tennis shoes. Okay. And that's what you're going to go through when you go through the underground. So I'm going to do this separate. I'm going to do it as the underground process, and I'm going to expose everything that we did there, and I'm going to expose the above ground process. But you get a call, and you get a call to talk about the underground, but you also get a call to also talk about the above ground process, which is once you get picked, you get entered into you have to go to an introductory or intro meeting. And that's where they take you through a whole video that talks about non-hazing. And they say hazing is not cool, it's not okay, you can't participate in it. And in the meeting, they're hazing you. In the meeting, they're making faces. They saying, we about to kill y'all. We finna do this. We finna tear y'all up.
While y'all watching the video?
While we're watching the video. And we're talking about older ones too, because every collegiate chapter has an adult advisor that's a graduate member. And so the one over us, she like in her 50s. And they doing all of that. And so it was about 38 girls that was picked to be on my line. It was over like 200, almost close to 300.
I'm going to interrupt her real quick. This is why the sisterhood is fake. I told y'all that I made several connections immediately. Where do they learn fake sisterhood? And not that every Black woman has gone to college or pledged a soror or any of that, but the spirit. The spirit of it is beyond the individuals who actually pledge. This is where I'm going with this. The mind, the spirit, the energy cultivated actually goes well beyond the individual that pledges or that does all of this stuff. She just said the older women who already been through all this in her 50s, she's well beyond college days and initiations and all of that type of stuff. Yet she's there ushering in a new chapter, literally passing on that spirit and that energy to somebody else. So the ability to front in front of the world like we're a close sisterhood and in the background hurt them, deceive them, manipulate them, gaslight them, and abuse them is a hallmark of the sisterhood. You think they keep that energy just among them? They spread that energy to everybody that they come in contact with, whether those other people are part of those organizations or not. Because you don't get that behavior and then you check it here and check it there. How you do anything is how you do everything. You went through an initiation process to bind yourself spiritually to a demon or a set of demons that have told you that you have to have this kind of behavior. You're not going to not do it in certain areas. You're going to do it always. You're going to do it everywhere. Just like when people are attached to the Most High, you're attached to the Most High everywhere. I'm Muslim everywhere. I'm Muslim everywhere. It ain't no space I'm going into where I'm not going to be Muslim. A'udhu billah. I'm Muslim everywhere. We'll do a few more minutes, maybe about maybe 5 or 10 more minutes, because there's gonna be a part 2 to this. Because this needs to be said. Okay? We are in a space where we're looking for different solutions for the Black community and things of that nature. And whoever is looking for a solution to the problems of the Black community, whether you want to recognize it or not, that solution is spiritual. That's why spiritual value is number 1 on the 10 life values list. You got to settle that spirituality first. And that has to be in truth. Your spiritual value has to be rooted in truth. If it is not, you will be deceived and you will deceive others, knowingly or unknowingly. The problem of the Black community is spiritual. We are in collectively, not individually. There are people who are doing their best to follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in general, we have been operating in complete disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to not think that Allah has allowed, since you want to be given over to debaucheries, problems, disobedience, you want to ignore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then I'll let you wallow in that. Then you'll have problem on top of problems on top of problems. Because you're hard-headed and you don't listen. I'm going to let you wallow in the disobedience, since that's where you want to be. Allah tells us in the Quran, those whom he guides, nobody can misguide. And those whom he lead astray, nobody can guide them. Why would God lead you astray? He's just letting you be what you are. You want to be astray, so he take you over there. And let you go over there and sit there. That's what you want to be. You ain't listening to me. Go ahead on. See what we don't understand is God don't need us. We need him. He ain't pining after us. He done said plenty of times in the Quran, I'll destroy a nation and replace you with another nation better than you. You don't repent, I'll destroy you and replace you with another nation who will. And how many nations have I destroyed before you? How many have I destroyed? You think you're exempt? How many nations? How many civilizations that was better than you, had more technology than you, had more military than you, had more money than you? I destroyed them quick. It didn't take me no effort to do that. I seized them in the midst of their revelry. debauchery. In the midst of them, in their heedlessness, I seize them. I watched them be disobedient. I let them do it. I sent word, tell them that was wrong. They didn't want to do it. Okay. Because you think I need you. And I do not. Allah created us for his worship, not the other way around. Allah talks about all of the nations in the Quran that he's destroyed. The people of Ad, the people of Thamud, the people of all these different people. Mu'tafika, that would be Sodom and Gomorrah. Seize them. That's how Allah describes it in the Quran, him seizing them. In the middle of their revelry and thinking Allah ain't gonna do nothing. And each one of them people bring this punishment if it's true. Okay. Have gone back to the idols of old when Allah already told you don't worship nothing besides him. Nothing. Not yourself, not your wealth, not your children, not your business, not your homes, not other so-called deities and beings, nothing. He said worship is for him alone. He also tells us in the Quran he do not forgive shirk. He does not forgive dying in a state where you are worshiping something other than him. My baby said, keep going as long as I need to. Yep. She pointed out that they did that at Aretha Franklin's funeral. The way I went and searched for that on YouTube, and she was telling the truth. Unc said, keep going. What we're going to do is hit a real quick intermission. Just a couple of minutes. I'm going to play the intro a little bit. And I won't end it. So y'all go get y'all something to drink. Go use the bathroom or something. And we'll continue. We're going to continue. Just hold on. We're not going to end it. We back, y'all. Put this back. We'll be back presentable. Somewhat. Okay. So we're going to get back into it. Hold on. We're going to get back into it, y'all. Because this is a very important topic. Hopefully y'all went and got some drinks. Y'all use the bathroom. And we're going to let her keep talking.
That came to the initial rush. Out of that, it was 38 that was picked. Wow. And I went to a HBCU, so this is like a really popular, chapter, also known like for hazing and stuff like that. And so in the meeting, some of us know each other, some of us don't. We just trying to, get to know each other. And mind you, when you go to the rush or even when you're in a meeting, you cannot wear that organization's colors, which was red and white for Delta, nor can you wear any other organization's colors. So you're stuck with gray, black, or white in a sense of what you can wear, right? And at my school, particular at the time, they had this thing called a natural process. And a natural process was not just, oh, we natural and we not wearing makeup. No. You could not do anything to your hair at all. Like even make it be kept. Okay. And you could not even upkeep your clothes. As a matter of fact, the clothes that we would wear to set, which was the underground situation where we would basically get beat and stuff all night, we couldn't even wash those clothes.
This is spiritually significant. Not being able to upkeep yourself hygienically to make yourself presentable, showers and so forth. That is spiritually significant. In Islam, there is, I want to say, a hadith that describes the qualities of a person who is destined for Jannah, heaven, and the qualities of a person destined for Jahannam, the hellfire. And this always stuck with me. One of the qualities of a person destined for hellfire is to be dirty, slovenly, and unkempt. That's actually one of the qualities of such people. That these people are dirty, filthy, they are unkempt, they are unwashed. And this is not due to not being able to be kept and kempt and washed and so forth, but because they are not. Okay. Some of the various demons, that is one of their qualities, to be dirty. Okay. So this is a process of introducing qualities that people would not otherwise connect with being demonic. This is why cleanliness is next to, that's that same cleanliness is next to godliness. Before you pray, you are supposed to make wudu. Okay? Not only is this a physical washing, but it is also a spiritual washing. This is a preparation to come to Allah. Even in the Bible, when it talks about Jesus washing the feet of his disciples, and they're making wudu before they go pray. That's what they're doing. They're washing. In a couple of spaces in the Bible, wudu is being explained. Okay? They're making wudu. Ablution is the English word for that. They're cleansing themselves in preparation to go and pray. The complete opposite of being intentionally dirty. Okay?
We couldn't even wash those clothes.
But y'all still had to go to school?
So during the day, we had to wear brown, gray, and black suits. And that's what we could wear, but we couldn't upkeep ourselves, basically, in any way, shape, or form. And so at night was when we would wear the sweatpants and all of that stuff when we was going to the set stuff. So we get into the meeting and they have to pass down this letter. They're passing, one of the big sisters passed down a letter and says, y'all got 30 minutes to get off campus and to go find somewhere for all of y'all to live. It's 38 of us. And you got 30 minutes. Once this meeting is over, you need to rush to your cars, leave some of y'all cars here so you don't look, noticeable, jump in the cars and carpool one another. And you got 30 minutes to get everything out of your room, off campus, and to go find somewhere for y'all to live.
What does that mean? I don't get that.
About to explain it. So the moment that we get out, we all rush into the cars. We are trying to grab, some of our, like, whatever clothes we can kind of get, like underwear, that kind of thing, or like the suits that we had to wear. And then we're all trying to rush in the car. Mind you, all of us don't even know each other. So some of us leaving our cars, we just jumping into whoever cars. The moment that we get in the car and we start driving, a high-speed chase ensues all throughout the city of Savannah. Not even kidding. So pro fights pull out of nowhere. They start chasing us.
What's pro fights? I don't know what that means.
Absolutely. So a pro fight is a big sister. So I always say big sister and then the people that are online. Pledges. I'll say pledges are the people that are literally pledging, and then I'll say big sister. But when you cross over, those big sisters are called pro fights and you're called a neophyte. Okay. So you're called a neo and they called a pro fight. So all of the big sisters, meaning they were from lines before. So we were in 2007. So they're from a 2005, 2004, 2002 line. All of these people, are coming back to like get y'all for the first night and cause chaos, basically. And so they start chasing us. And then on top of that, they had a list of our class schedule and our phone numbers. And so all of our phones out of the blue just start ringing. And it's not, so for instance, I'm gonna give you an example. I was the number 9 on my line. So I want you to imagine 5 lines back, all of the 9 start calling me, because they all circulated their numbers and out of once. So they're calling you and we're trying to call each other. It's utter chaos. We're driving around. They chasing y'all because the place that we're supposed to find to live, they're not supposed to know that we stay there. Okay. Which is crazy because it's supposed to be a place that we have. If they find that we stay there, they can come there any night and they could just tear it up, which actually happened. So we're trying to find a place because we're trying to get to know each other. We're trying to get organized. We're trying to pick who's going to be the line president. That's the person who's going to be the spokesperson with the profiles. When I tell you it's organized sin, it's organized sin. And so we end up finding at the time, one of my former line sisters, we end up finding who was a pledge with me. That's a line sister that was on the same line with me. But we end up going to just one of her houses because she was off campus. And when we get there, 2 of the profiles, they standing there at her house.
Now, this is significant. I'm going to point out the significance of that story and what that means. So she's saying that the pledges, 38 pledges, were told, you have 30 minutes to grab whatever belongings you got and find somewhere to stay off campus. We, as the so-called ones that's putting you through this initiation, are not supposed to know where you're going. The girls jump in the cars. Now, the first part of that is rushed decision, chaotic decision making, confused decision making, to make a decision without proper knowledge, information, or guidance. The rash decision, we call those rash decisions. Matter of fact, let me do a real quick. I'm gonna take that off for now. The making of a rash decision. To make a decision in haste. This is from Shaitan. This is how you know when people don't mean you no good. Most of the time, somebody come to you to make a decision and they want you to make a quick decision right now without any information. You cannot make a proper decision for yourself without information. Relevant information. Okay? You only supposed to be able to make clear decisions, concise decisions, once you have the relevant information that you need in order to make the decision. Because indecisiveness is also a part of confusion. Okay? So we are to be decisive. God's people are decisive people. But we are decisive based upon having relevant information pertaining to this decision. We are not moved by somebody coming in all in a haze. Oh, you got to go ahead and sign this. Come on, sign it. Sign what? What are you talking about? You know a demon, when they come in rushing around and you slow the pace down a little bit, they get mad. Oh, why you won't do it? Because who you talking to? You better jump on this real quick. Really? I mean, I might jump on it, but we're not going to do that without information. The other part of that was that they were told to go find somewhere that the people above them were not supposed to know. Yet, when they pulled up to a resident, those people were already there. The purpose of that was to display that we are all knowing. We are your lords. We are your gods. We know all. We knew you would be here before you knew you would be here. To give the impression that they are everywhere and thus inescapable. That is the reason that they were already stationed at that place, to give the pledges, to embed in them subconsciously that any decision I make, even if I don't talk about it, these people somehow know what I'm gonna do. That was the purpose of that exercise. That was the purpose of them doing that exercise like that. This is the same for MK Ultra, by the way. This is a similar process. The people who run MK Ultra, trafficking, human trafficking, all these other things, Epstein people, the reason how people get caught in these cycles is because they convince the person that they're abusing that they cannot escape this abuse. If you tell, it's just gonna get back to me, because the police are in on it, the hospitals are in on it. The people that you think you can trust with this information are loyal to me. So you can't get out of it. This is why so-called powerful people don't get caught doing stuff. Well, why come you ain't tell? Tell who? Tell who? When the people that are in authority that's supposed to help you are loyal to those who are abusing you, who are you telling? How are you getting away? Getting away how?
And they tell us to hurry up and come inside. And when we got inside, which we were like freaked out because we was told to find somewhere, but they already knew like where we was going.
Oh, sorry. I have to. Thank you, Lydell. He says expose it. Thank you so much, Lydell been rocking with me for a long time too. I appreciate you, Lydell, for all of your support throughout the years. I definitely appreciate you and thank you for it. Thank you so much.
Not even joking, it's the craziest thing. I want you guys to think the stuff you be hearing in Hollywood, like this stuff happened here too, and it's absolutely insane. That's where we met our DP and our ADP. A DP is a dean of pledges. ADP is an assistant dean of pledges. So the DP would be somebody who is graduated offline, an older Delta that can't, in a sense, be like connected with the chapter. An assistant dean of pledges would be somebody that is in school, like an older Delta that's taking you through, but she's still in school or whatever. And she can't really be at the set stuff. So it's like an organized thing. The DP and people, they can't be seen at set, but the ADP got to know that certain things that's happening at set. Don't know if that makes sense. And that is the way that they get away with, if somebody was to tell, we can't say that the ADP was there. So none of the people on campus get implicated. We could say, oh, it's just older profiles that's not attached to the chapter. And then they throw you under the bus. So this is organizing. I'm not even joking. And so it's like they play good cop, bad cop role. It's wild. And so they start telling us about the bras, the panties, what's going to happen. And they tell us that we can't stay here because we already know. And if y'all do stay here, we're going to come. So we end up having to leave. And it's 38 girls staying in one motel room. We end up having one roach infested motel room. We have people that are sleeping on the floor. All of us are cramped in the bed. People are sleeping in the tub. I'm actually not joking. On the floor in the bathroom. It was horrific. And this is when they tell you that you can't talk to anybody anymore. So you can't talk to any of your family. You can't talk to any of your friends. You can't tell anybody about what you're doing, where you're going, the process. And at this point, you have to always be with somebody. So you can't be alone anymore. You always have to be with someone else that's on your line. And so during the day, like I told you, this is the way that witchcraft works. I want to give you an idea of what a day would look like. Okay. So we're college students. Okay. We are super young. So imagine I have a
She mentioned something before I allow her to go on. She mentioned something about being crammed in a place and being told that you are not allowed now to communicate with friends, families, people outside of what you're doing, and things of that nature. Once again, we are met with an aspect of the abuse cycle. See, I know what I'm talking about on this channel. Okay? Part of abuse cycle is isolation. We have to isolate you from people who would have your best interest, and people who are not attached to this telling you this is crazy. This is crazy. What are you doing? No, I'm coming to get you. I'm coming to get you. Because what is happening here? Right? You have to be separated from any person or anything that would help you. All right? And you would also be tempted to divulge various details to these people. They don't want to risk that. You're already in a place where you're going to do what they told you to do, because now you're getting in too deep. Okay? Notice I'm not skipping.
Class schedule. My first class started at 8 a.m. because remember, they have my class schedule too. You have to submit that when you give your stuff. So they would know right when I got out of class. And in between that break, I would have to do this thing called running errands. That means I would have to take one other person from my line. I would have to go buy them whatever meal they want, whatever they want to eat. I would have to go take it to their house. And during the day, they would be quizzing me with information, meaning like you would have to repeat the founders over and over and over again. Necromancy. You would have to learn all.
Say their names?
Yes. Osceola McCarthy Adams, Marguerite Young Alexander, all this over and over. You're like, it's like necromancy. So
this is another important spiritual point. She's saying that they have to repeat the names of the founders of the organization over and over and over again, and she calls it necromancy. She is correct. That would be necromancy. In Islam, we do something called dhikr. Dhikr means remembrance. Dhikrullah means the remembrance of Allah. And what we do is we say Allah's names over and over. La ilaha illallah, alhamdulillah, subhanallah. Okay? Allahu Akbar. We repeat those things. The repetition of Allah's name is literally us verbalizing and solidifying that connection with Allah. We cannot do that with nothing else. It is a form of worship. Okay? We cannot replace Allah's name with nothing else. Okay? The dhikr is for Allah. So we can only call on Allah. When we're doing that, we can only say Allah. We can only say Allah's names. We cannot call on any other being. We don't include we don't call on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam like that. We call on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like that. Okay? It is a form of worship. She's calling it necromancy because anytime you repeat something like that, it goes to your heart. It is a spiritual thing. It's a form of worship. Okay? So to repeat those names is an invocation. You're invoking the so-called energy of those dead people.
We would have to learn. That's what they would say, information, the Greek alphabet. What are excuses? Excuses are tools of the tools of the incompetent. Build all this different stuff that they're building up in you. Look at you, Miss Attitude. And they had a way that they would like operate in manipulation and control. And so it's like, it's so wild. So during the day, you're buying them meals and you're doing that. And every time you buy them a meals, it's supposed to be that you're getting some information, but the information would be, oh, we're the Delta New chapter. It would be like, oh no, it's so dumb. Even when we talk to you about like what these secrets that they're fighting to keep, I mean, this stuff is so ridiculous that you're going to be like, there's no way you went through all of that for this. There's no way that you went through all of that for this now, because we thinking we about to hear something super deep because they telling us that they have hidden knowledge and we're looking for knowledge. We're looking for the light. That's why you join, because they're telling you that the Delta light is the light that you're looking for, because the light in Christ is not enough. And so you need the Delta light. But, you know, all these people are saying, but I had it. I had enough I need in Christ. Well, then why were you in search of another light? Why were you in search of the information and the knowledge and the wickedness that you was learning through Delta if you already had Christ and that was enough and you don't put anything before it? So now we're there, and then they take you also during the day through calisthenics. So they would make you do this thing called Delta chair, and it's like squats on the wall. No. You have to basically like say the information, and then they're pouring water in your face at the same time. They're making you do Delta TV, which you're doing planks, and you got this underneath, you know, and you have to spit the information while doing that. And if you fall, your line sister has to come and get underneath you to keep you up. But then they're going to push, they're going to shove you, all of those different types of things. So this is stuff we're going through during the day. We ain't even got to what we're going through at night. Then you got to leave all that and then go rush to class. But you can't be caught like on campus. You can't, if you bought a meal plan, you can't go eat in the cafeteria, and we're not even allowed to eat. So we couldn't go and eat like fast food and stuff like that. How are we gonna cook? So all of us, I have a picture of me and I am so thin, you know, because in majority of us spending all our money for them.
No.
Yes. We spending all our money for them.
There was none of the pro fights or the big sisters were like, all right, y'all, like, let's have a little bit of mercy. Let's try to take care of them. Nobody said that?
No, because the 9 times out of 10, the person who they made DP, that was somebody that was uncontrollable. They all fear.
I'm going to pause this right here. The act of starving and sleep deprivation, food and sleep deprivation, is a form of torture to get people to dissociate mentally. Okay? It is a form of torture to get people to dissociate mentally. When you are very hungry and you have not slept properly, you have not eaten properly, you will dissociate. Okay? And you will act out of a sense of scarcity, desperation, fear. When you act out of fear, desperation, scarcity, all of these things, this is a negative attraction. You will do nearly anything. Okay? This is why your God can't be in your belly. This was the lesson of Jesus when he was fasting for 40 days and Shaitan comes to talk to him and to tempt him. Okay? One of the things that he tried to tempt Jesus with was bread, food. Eat something. The difference is that Jesus wasn't starving, he was fasting. Okay? Jesus wasn't starving, he was fasting. Which is different. When you are fasting for Allah, Allah give you even more spiritual discernment. The connection is stronger with Allah. So when Shaitan attempted to tempt Isa alayhi salam with bread, Isa told him, paraphrasing it, and man shall not live by bread alone. That's a paraphrase. He's basically telling Shaitan, my God is not in my stomach. I'm not being deprived of food. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a razaq. He is my provider, not you. So anything that I want, I can ask Allah for that. I don't need you to give me anything because I do not lack anything. My connection with the Most High is so strong. Literally, I can ask for anything. This is where al-Ma'idah come from. The table, the spread, the food. You know the picture of the Last Supper and all that kind of stuff. In Quran, it's a whole chapter called al-Ma'idah. The table, the spread. Esau was never in lack. He asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give me a spread. Not operating in scarcity at all. So therefore, he could not be manipulated. Aside from the fact that he's a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you know what I'm saying, Allah has guided Isa alayhi salam. Even aside from that fact, he's coming from the place of, I'm not in a situation of not knowing where nothing coming from. I know everything comes from Allah. So you don't have the power to take from me nor give to me, because none of this stuff is your provision. Everything belongs to Allah. All I have to do is ask. If I want food, Allah will give me food. He don't have to come through you of all beings to give me nothing. You understand that?
That person. So even if you had one person that was like, okay, this is a little too much, they was all afraid of that. That the DP is normally a hothead, and she the one that's leading the thing. So you're putting these young girls, and you're having manipulative conversations like, we're gonna make sure y'all safe. You get into the atmosphere, nobody's safe. Nobody's safe. And let's just say you was the one that had the attitude. Like, I'm not finna let y'all do that to me. I'm not finna let you slap me and spit in my face, you know? Absolutely. I'm not finna let you do that. I'm gonna buck up on you. Oh, okay. You the one with the attitude. Okay, bet. I'm gonna make you write a 12-page paper that says why it's not good to have an attitude.
No.
Yes. And then on top of that, I'm gonna take it out on the person that's your front and your back, and I'm gonna take it out on them. And you're gonna sit there and you're gonna watch them be violated. And so now you gotta sit right there and watch them get violated for you. Or no, they don't take it. They're not gonna keep.
She's describing now the breaking of will. The breaking of will. The will, what will? The will to fight. The will to say no. The breaking of will. The breaking of moral compass. I know this is wrong, so I will not participate. Okay. So you're not going to participate? Got it. Can you sit by and watch so-called innocent people be hurt by your refusal? This is an attempt to make you bow down. Okay.
Bullying you, they're going to take it off on the one that's the least on the line. And they're going to sit there and make you watch it. They're going to sit there and make you watch it. And mind you, at this point, tell me if we could tell. Because you just sat in that meeting and said you wouldn't participate in any hazing festivities. If you tell, you going to jail and you getting kicked out of school. Miss me with that, oh, y'all should have walked away. We're implicated.
Oh.
We're implicated at 18 and 19. What you mean? Now, y'all sat here with knowledge and said not to participate in it. How you going to explain that you a part of this? And you about to take everybody down with you. So that's the manipulation too. Because no, it's not
you're
just
going to be hated amongst everybody.
Oh yeah. And it's not just telling the pro-fights, you about to tell on your line sisters. All of them about to lose too. Because they're going to do an investigation and want to know who all is a part of it in the chapter. High level manipulation that keeps you. I want you to think about the stuff that happens to like rap artists and stuff. This is how these people, they keep them in this type of fear. Oh, you don't want to do what we said? Bet we going to go do something to your mama.
Your mama?
Well, you know, like in the rap industry, not.
Oh, okay. I was like, all right, ma'am, you know, you're not.
But you get what I mean. Yes. Like, you know, that's how they get those people to fall in line. That's how they would get you to fall in line. Like, we'll do it with your closest, friend. And then they'll tell you, now you slap her.
But you guys, nobody hit anybody really though.
Are you kidding me?
No. Nobody could hit anybody.
Oh, we're not even through the story yet.
No.
Because people, I love people, but they're not being honest. I love the whole, the denouncing stuff. Oh yeah, let me come out and share my story. Yes, there was hazing, and then we skip to the oaths, and then we skip to how we got out. People are not telling the truth.
Really?
People are not telling you the truth. And the Lord is not okay with that. Because we are saved by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And the things that I'm sharing with you, it implicates me. But do you understand that even me going to jail is grace? Do you understand how I would have been held accountable before the Lord? You think I can afford to protect myself with what I've done? You think I can afford to protect myself? It would be grace from God if I went to jail. You know how he would have held me accountable for the things that I did to other people. People are not telling the truth. Oh, you can't skip past this. Oh, you can't skip past this. Because did we physically touch people? Did we hurt people? What? We brutally hurt people.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Ain't no way.
We were college educated gangs. Take Crips and Bloods. We was college educated gangs, ready to fight you in the club if you tried to do our dance, do our step, throw up our. Are you kidding me? You know why people be ready to fight like that? Because of everything that they did to get them letters. Oh, you think I'm gonna let you come up in here and just get it like that? And you could just do whatever? That's why people are like that, because of what you did to get it.
You know what? She not lying about that part. I have watched members of fraternities and sororities get violent. I know y'all wasn't trying to copy our stroll, our step. What I always gathered from that is that was the equivalent of false flagging. Like gangs didn't want you to false flag colors. Don't throw up they set. Don't have their color. If you're not part of the gang, you can't false flag. You will get jumped for that. Like you will get did for that. Like Who? Wait a minute. What you throw up? You cannot be throwing up no sex. And this gang culture. You can't throw up no sex. You know what I'm saying? Rocking your hat this way, that way, rocking colors this way, that way. Hey. Where you from? You gonna get pressed real quick.
That's why people are like that in the music industry. Oh, nah, you got to come in here and get violated the way I did. That's where that comes from too. It's all within the same thing with Freemasonry. It's all within that same thing with the Illuminati. It's the same thing. That's why we gonna keep this close knit to the people that went through the same trauma and abuse that I went through. And the reason that a lot of people can't remember is because we trauma bond. You have to understand the devil works like this. I want to keep you hungry, sleepy, tired. And at this time, we're also doing all these seances, oaths, rituals, necromancy. We was doing spells almost every night. So your memory is gone. Ask people in the comments, majority of them cannot even remember half of the stuff that they did because we actively spoke spells over ourselves. If it's not for the Holy Spirit to commit it back to your remembrance, half of the people can't even remember the stuff that we did. That's why I have to physically come out and show the rituals and the stuff that is right there in the paper. And half of the people can't even remember the fact that we sat there and we did that.
The memory gap that she's talking about is the dissociation. Remember when we talked about being hungry, being sleep deprived, being deprived of your needs as a human being makes you dissociate. Once you dissociate, look up dissociation. Once you dissociate, there's something called a memory gap. You don't remember specifically what happened during any specific type of trauma. Your body knows what you did, but you wipe it from your conscious mind. Okay? Not knowing, this is to get you in a state where you're not thinking clearly. This is also called the rat race. People up in the morning, real quick, you're in a rush, go to work, you didn't sleep good, you didn't eat good, you all at work, you're doing whatever, then you come back late at night, hungry, tired, sleepy, you know what I'm saying? You don't got time, you don't have time. All of this is not have time for God. All of this, and I'm talking about the general public now, fill your mind with entertainment and foolishness. Get you up early in the morning, got to get in a rat race, commute, go to work, do that mind-numbing work, clock out, come back, hungry, tired, upset, anxiety up. Now you just want to relax. How do you relax? With all of this quote-unquote entertainment to bog your mind down so that you don't have time to what? Remember Allah. You cannot remember Allah. Dissociated.
Because we was actively doing incantations and lighting candles and sitting at a red table, having robes on every time we walked in there. They're not telling the full truth. Maybe some people don't fully remember, but you weren't going to be held accountable. You need to ask Jesus to bring that memory back because we're going to be held accountable. So I'm going through a day. You got a class at 8. Now you're going to a big sister's house. Okay. Now 6 p.m. We get to around 6 p.m. That's when you head to the above ground process. The above ground process is basically like a class you would go to from around 6 to 9:30 or so. And that's where you would learn like a lot of the history about the organization, but that's where we would do above ground rituals. Delta Sigma Theta in particular, has a ritual. It's called this. And now this is before we get to the initiation and all the things that people commonly talk about. They have a 9-day path to Delta that talks about 9 jewels, and it's 9 candles in the Sigma, because it's Delta Sigma Theta. It's 9 candles that you light in the Sigma, and they have 9 words, and each day we do a ritual to those words, and all 9 of those words are a blasphemous take on the 9 fruits of the Holy Spirit. And we do an air, fire, water, and earth ritual to those things every single day. Every single day as we go through the 9 paths. We have a water ritual where we take distilled water, and mind you, we walk in, the older big sisters, they're standing there. It's a dark room. The altar is always set up, and the altar looks like it's a table. It has a Delta Sigma Theta on it, a banner. It has a red candle and a white candle, because the deity attached to Delta is Minerva. And the red candle, and if you were actually bringing the girls over like a part of that, you would be a part of the Minerva circle. And Minerva is even on the shield. She's at the top of the shield, looking down on the shield, and so Minerva is the goddess of wisdom, and we would light that candle to usher us into the spirit, and to usher the spirit of the wisdom into the atmosphere. That candle is lit every time deltas are present, because that's the spirit that guides us in the wisdom. Now, last I checked,
Come on.
fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And we're sitting here lighting this because Delta is a big proponent for feminism. So we need a female deity. Jesus ain't it. We need a female deity, and because she's the goddess of wisdom, we have to light that candle. It's even if the candle blows out, it's a ritual of how the president has to come back and relight the candle.
This is important. Bridge the gap between what she just said and the way in which many Black women, whether they have ever pledged or not, behave, and tell me it's not a spirit. Having a goddess, I have talked about this before with Black women and the universe. They're not worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are worshiping whatever, quote unquote, energy, usually some goddess of some sort. Whatever they have attributed name, they have attributed to it. Okay? And the level of witchcraft, occultism, paganism, that they have attached, that they are doing. Tell me it's not a spirit.
That's how detailed this is. So we have the candles lit. You walk in, they standing in red and white robes. It's a dark thing. The African, the Mother Earth ritual, we had a mat. It was 4 mats, and each of us, we were called pyramids. The pledges were called pyramids, okay? Which we'll get into, but the pledges are called pyramids. 2 by 2, you step on a mat, and they have a prompter card with a flashlight, and you have to read it. And it talks about, I step on this symbolic earth that represents Mother Earth, Africa, and my ancestors, and I pledge to never forget any of the things that took place in the past. I step on this mat that is a symbolic thing, and we're stepping on a mat without our shoes on, barefoot, and it has earth sprinkled all on the mat, which is blasphemous, because we know every time we take off our shoes and we step on holy ground or dirt, that's supposed to be sacred. And so it's a blasphemous thing that they're doing towards Christ, as we're doing that in honor of ancestors, right? And we would have to stand up and we would have to venerate the founders. It was 22 founders. And
ancestor worship is also haram. Ancestor worship is also haram. Praying to or attempting to invoke the energy and or life essence of the so-called ancestors. Haram.
We have to say them over and over and over again. The past national presidents, all of these people over and over and over again.
Mm-mm.
And every time we're doing it, we're just doing incantations and all of those things. That would be the earth ritual, a fire ritual, where we would have to stand up and say, behold the torch of wisdom. Okay. And all of us would have to stand up. This is above ground. We ain't even got to the night stuff. This is all the people that's saying, oh, I didn't get hazed. You went through this. This is national process. Whether you did a grad chapter, undergrad chapter, every Delta did what I'm talking about. Everyone.
No.
This is not the elect. Everyone, every single one. Okay. So the fire ritual, we would have to go up and say, behold the torch of wisdom. And we would have to go and they would take your hand and you would be hand in hand and say, I light the torch of wisdom. I invite in myself a new force, a new life force, which is Delta Sigma Theta. I invite that.
No.
That is a direct form of worship. I invite. Literally inviting a spirit. People don't be believing that you can do that. And that has an effect. The invitation of a force, a spirit. You are inviting possession. Spiritual possession. See, people think spiritual possession look like the Exorcist all the time. No. You do not have, your head do not have to spin around for you to be possessed by a demonic force. Exactly. Strictly forbidden. Haram. To practice any form of necromancy, divination, any of it. Trying to communicate with so-called the dead to gain the knowledge of the unseen.
I'm serious. No, I'm serious. No, I'm serious. And then you walk away singing This Little Light of Mine. You know how disrespectful this stuff is.
On.
Oh, but we had God present. Yeah, you had God present so you could blaspheme him. That's why. That's why the rituals say in the presence of the eternal spirit truth in front of Almighty God. That's why I say that. Because you're boldly saying to God, in your presence, while I kneel at this altar, I'm making this declaration. You're telling me, you're sitting here saying to me, oh, this is a Christian liberty? Oh, nah.
It's a
Christian liberty to do the stuff I'm saying. We had bowls of water and it had to be distilled water. And it says distilled is the purest form of water. We know that this is used, okay, for witchcraft, the purest form of water. We would have to have, we had a bowl of water, we had steam, and we had an ice. We had to take ourselves and be in all forms of those water, all forms of that water. And we had to wash ourselves and say, I rid myself of all negative energy. I am refreshed, renewed, and I am reborn.
No.
Yes, we did. I invite in myself those feelings of kindness that make me feel lovely and fuzzy inside. That's what we said. And I commit my emotional self to Delta Sigma Theta.
Nope.
Yes.
I commit my emotional self. Literally submission. Literally worship and submission. That is worship and submission. Quite literally. I know I done kept y'all a long time. I'm not skipping. I have not skipped. And I've watched this. Usually when I had this stuff, I didn't watch it all the way through. I watched it. That's why I'm not skipping it. That's why I'm not skipping it forward. Because you need to hear it the way I heard it. Because the interview itself is nearly 2 hours. So we're not going to go through the 2 hours because I already had you like 2.5 hours. Okay? This is literally worship. When we come to God, we say this kind of stuff. When you become Muslim, we take shahada. This is the power of speech. Your words have power. This is why witches do spells and so forth. The words have power. Because what you say out of your mouth, if you believe it in your heart, Allah listening to that, he'll give it to you, whether it's evil or good. So when we become Muslim, we say our shahada. The word shahada has a couple of different meanings, but in that context, it is to bear witness. A statement that bears witness. I bear witness. Ashhadu. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. I bear witness that there is nothing worthy of worship besides Allah. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. And I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. I would have cut this off at about 1.5 hours. My baby told me to go as long as I can. I think this energy, when I do shows like this, the part 2 never hit like the part 1 because the energy, I'm trying to get through this to the point I want you to hear.
We did. Yes, we did. National process. Every person has done it. Every person has done it. Every person. I'm going to send you the screenshot so you can see it because I have the physical form of our ritual book. Personal. Every last one of us did this. Every last one. Yes, we had to go give a gift.
Matter of fact, let me speed it up.
At the altar. Yeah, we had these treasure boxes where we would have a gift, and at the end we would have a Kwanzaa celebration where it looked like an ephah table set up, and we would have to light candles. We would have to give gifts at the altar, and this was our gift and our sacrifice that we wanted to give of our gift to Delta. And I didn't even go through all of them. That was just like 3 examples, but we did something all 9 days. They take 1 Corinthians 13 and call it the Delta meditation. They remove God's name out of 1 Corinthians 13. It says, but the greatest of these in Delta is love. A Delta should be this. When a Delta is no longer, what does it say in 1 Corinthians 13? But it talks about how when I thought like a child, when I was a pyramid and I was a pledge, I no longer think like that. I'm now a Delta. And I think, they take God's name out and they put Delta in 1 Corinthians 13. They do the same thing in Revelation 21. They do the same thing, and it's called a paraphrase. And it's by Dorothy Irene Height, who was a Delta, who was a part of it. Yeah, we do all of that. They gave us a take-home assignment that was called a Spanish proverb, and it talks about the process of you selling your soul. Yeah, it's talking about an angel that comes down, and it has to weigh the scale of balance. And to some, what is it that you want? Is it fame you want? Well, there's a sacrifice for that. Is it money that you want? Well, there's a sacrifice. And you get down to the end, and it says, whether it's fame, whether it's this, nothing is free. And that's a take-home assignment that we have to do. And we have to take that home. And that's an above ground process. You have 3 ritual rites of passage. You get people that come up and they just talk about the initiation. No. We did a ritual to even become a pledge. It's called the pyramid induction ceremony. So you're inducted to even become a pyramid. So even if you say, oh, y'all.
I pause this. She mentioned the exchange. Nothing is free. Nothing is free. That rule is real. Okay? They take everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually does and then corrupt and, they corrupt it and defile it. Because in order to access the treasures of Allah, in order to access the blessings of Allah, Allah requires what? Your belief in him and your adherence to his law. Allah requires your belief in him and your adherence to his deen. You must adhere to his sharia, his law. You cannot contradict him. If at some point you commit a sin, you have to beg forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and do your best to come away from that sin. Okay? That's the exchange that Allah is asking. Make your salah. Pray. You understand? Fast. Give charity. This is what Allah wants. Righteousness. Allah wants righteousness from us. Allah wants submission and obedience. That's the price. That's the price. Submission and obedience. Okay? This puts us in a position to receive the mercy of Allah, forgiveness from Allah, treasures of Allah, blessings from Allah. Okay? For anything that you want, that you call yourself backdoor, you don't want to worship Allah, you don't want to submit to Allah, you go into all these other channels, no matter what that channel looks like, it's all shaitan. It's all shaitan regime. Anything that's not the Most High, shaitan. Whether it look like a shaitan, act like a shaitan, because it requires you to dismiss Allah, the Most High. Dismiss being submissive to the orders of Allah.
To renounce, and let's just say somebody didn't want to do it. Well, if you drop line as a pyramid, you're called an eternal pyramid because you went and did a pledge and kneeled at an altar in the church and you did a pledge. You did an oath and initiation ritual just to become a pyramid.
Even if you didn't make line?
No. So you can make line, but let's just say all of this is too much and you decide that you want to drop. You become an eternal pyramid.
Eternal?
That's what it's called. Yeah. That's what it's called. And so this is just like the above ground because there's other things that we do. There's an odyssey that we have to go on. It's a weekend getaway. It's called the Odyssey. Okay. And we know, and that's why a lot of deltas actually, when they come out, they deal with spirit spouse demons because that character Odysseus is what Leviathan looks like. And the whole story is about Penelope, being like, basically like he goes on this odyssey through hell and comes back and slays all her suitors. And so a lot of people deal with like, sleep, paralysis, incubus and succubus spirit because Delta Sigma Theta they're so disrespectful that like we have public songs we could sing and we have private songs that we could sing. Okay. And that's the reason, like if I sung some of the private songs, you would say immediately you are a witch, but there are only songs that we can sing publicly. And that's why a lot of this stuff was not caught in the church. And the public song they let everybody sing is called what is it called? The sweetheart song. Okay. And let me tell you how disrespectful this thing is. So
listen to this part really carefully. I know I sped it up, but listen to it.
It goes, she may be an Omega sweetheart or the dream girl at A5A. She may wear a Kappa diamond or her love may a Sigma B. But if she wears the Delta symbol, then her first love is DST. And they make you sing that song.
First love?
Her first love is DST. And they make you sing that song at your wedding right after you took your wedding vows. And that's the thing that people going to see.
What do you mean by that? Everyone's supposed to sing that?
Everybody. Yeah. So when you go to the reception and you watching them do their little ritual, they're singing those songs and they're undoing the covenant you just made at the altar with your husband. Oh, nah, your husband, that ain't your first love. Jesus not. And you have to sing that song at baby showers, graduations, any celebratory situation. This is a disrespectful deity. It undoes the covenant that you just sat there. And why are we singing that?
Listen to that very carefully. At any and all of the milestones of your life, they undo the covenant. Tell me this is not a spirit. Why are now listening to that? Why are so many marriages failing? You still think it's money? Still think it's about, what do you think it's about? A bunch of baby showers with no weddings? What do you think that's about? Because people do not even understand the spiritual environment connected to weddings and birth, even from the conception. This is why these children is crazy. And the generation get worse and worse. Because children are being conceived in demonic environments, under demonic situations. God is not in the conception of it. In Islam, when we birth a child, one of the first things that we're supposed to do as Muslims is recite the Adhan and the Fatiha to that baby, in that baby's ears. Because the calling the Adhan makes the shaitan run. He does not like that. And the recitation of the Fatiha is an immediate connection for that child to Allah. So in other words, for you to understand, it's almost like consecrating the child to Allah. This child belongs to Allah. It's just a trust from Allah to me that I have to take responsibility for, but the child's soul belongs to Allah. So to say a ritual as something like a baby shower, she get into some of the meat. They definitely do it at funerals. The crossing over from this plane of existence to the spiritual plane of existence.
your first, like you may wear a cap of diamond. Your husband just sitting there watching like, what? What are you talking about? And you're sitting here saying your love may a sigma be after we just took vows. Oh no, it comes back and it undoes your vows. That's what the initiation rituals do. They make sure you undo your vows. You have your kneel at the altar. You have your hand on the Bible there, and then you write your name in the book of Delta. You take your name out of the book of life and you write your name in the book of Delta. You sign it with your signature. And it says that these vows will follow you to the eternal judgment. You are about to take upon yourself vows and covenants in which you will never be able to be freed. And they will follow you to the final judgment. We say that. I, in the eternal spirit of truth, pledge my undying love. We say all that. And we say we believe in a spiritual life, but we leave up to the person, the medium, in whichever you want to assert. We say that. And then turn around and right after they do that, we sing the Lord's Prayer.
See, I remember Pharaoh tells Moses, go ahead and sacrifice to your God, but don't go too far. So under my jurisdiction, you can claim and do and work and serve God, but don't go too far. And this is the chain and the leash that he has on these individuals that think that they're in church serving, they're worship leading, they're Christian influencers, but there's a leash. And not once have I heard you even deal with, but it's not, I'll never put it above God. That's everybody's argument. But I've never put, idolatry is putting something above God. And I think that's a really poor way to interpret that. God says, thou shalt not have any other gods before me, which is, there are no other gods in my presence. There should be no mention. There's no one that can sit on my bench. There's no one that can sit next to me. There's nothing that can be in my room. And so this whole, it's not idolatry if I don't bow down my head and worship by name. But if you said all these things, committed yourself in this way, saying all these oaths, I really just can't believe. Now I'm heartbroken because Christians are defending this.
Yes. Before God. It boggles my mind, the lies. And if what you're saying is true, why won't you just show that in open your ritual? No.
I'm actually gonna go forward. This is very disheartening, but not surprising to me, at least. For how many people forget the Most High? Forget their covenant with the Most High. Forget who Allah is. This is why the community can't get it together. Because of the various demonic spirits that inhabit too many people. I'm going to skip forward just a little bit.
Has to do what I am saying to you. The underground is what's optional, the beating, the taking wood, but the rituals I just expressed to you, it's called the 9-day path to Delta. And when you get to the final initiation, they go back through the checklist of everything you just did, and they say, are these candidates now worthy for admission into the organization? They are lying. It doesn't matter if it was your grandmama who pledged grad chapter, they do this. It doesn't matter if it was underground, you did this. They are lying. If you cannot enter, it's an initiation. You cannot enter into the organization without doing this. It's not real. Like, that is what I'm expressing to you. That's how serious this is. No,
I'm with her on that. For those who talking about she's not telling the truth. So what's the initiation process then? If she lying, what's your initiation process then? If it's innocent, what is it? If you got an innocent initiation process, it don't call for all this. She up here clout chasing, she lying. You ain't got to do no rituals. You ain't got to say this type of incantation. You ain't got to do all this. You ain't got to do this. You ain't got to do that. So what you have to do then? So what you got to do? If it's innocent, what you got to do? And don't tell me you ain't supposed to say. See, that right there is a red flag, because when you come to Allah, there is no mysterious barriers. All you got to do is come to Allah. That's all you got to do. All you got to do is come to Allah through your word and your belief. There's no mystery. You ain't got to have a special person that's got to do it for you. None of that. Allah has made it. You can come to him if you was alone in the Amazonian rainforest by yourself. Allah has removed every barrier from you. There is no barrier of entry. If you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is there. Allah say in the Quran, he's closer to you than your jugular vein. There's hadith that said in English interpretation, I'm paraphrasing it. If you reach for Allah through a handspan, he will reach for you an arm's length. And if you walk towards Allah, he will run towards you. No barrier of entry. He didn't make it crazy and mysterious. He didn't do none of that so that you have no excuse. So if she lied about the rituals and all the oaths that you take to all these other beings, to everything besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then what's the initiation then? It's innocent, right? You ain't do nothing but have to twiddle your thumbs and, you know what I'm saying, write a little paper about why you want to be in this fraternity or sorority. That's all you had to do, right?
This isn't tomato. No, yes, maybe your chapter didn't haze and hit people. Everybody did the rituals. That's why I started with those first.
Wow.
Everybody did this. If you were a member of Delta, you did this. And what's crazy is if you're still going to the chapter meetings, meaning you're still in the organization, they will have chapter meetings, and they have them on Sunday, by the way, a lot of times too, but they will have chapter meetings. When you go into the chapter meetings, you have to light that red and that white candle in the chapter meeting. Every meeting where deltas are assembled, at the regionals, at cluster, at your chapter meetings, at your at the convention, the national convention that they do during the summer, you have to light that candle from the beginning and you have to extinguish it at the end. You have to do that. Even that particular process, that altar is set up at every delta meeting behind the scenes, and they even do it in an omega service. When you pass away, they come up there, set that altar up in the front of your church. If you want, you can literally go online and watch Aretha Franklin's funeral. You're going to see them walking down with the red candle, the white candle. They have a pillow for you to virtually kneel. The dead person, they put the pillow up there too for that person to virtually kneel, and they do a ritual to usher your body over to the other side. No. It's online. Stop playing in our face now.
She lying, right? She lying. She lying on y'all. Y'all ain't doing this. Y'all not doing this? These fraternities and these sororities ain't doing this? You not pledging your soul and your spirit to something other than the creator of the heaven and the earth and everything in between? And that's not being passed down to your seed? The tie you make to all of these demonic spirits is not being tied and connected to all the other people that you infect. And they're able to infect the other people because the other people's tie to Allah is either non-existent or weak. These are the generational curses. This is why the Black community can't rise. Because you're too busy doing all kind of demonic rituals. And then you want God to do what? What are you looking for the Most High to do? With your mouth, you call on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In your heart is shirk and kufr. With your actions and your heart, you disbelieve in Allah. You disbelieve. Then you get in front of somebody and want to talk about the Lord. Which Lord? I'm going to start asking people that. Which God you talking about? Because I know who is Allah. I know who my Allah is. So what God you talking about? And nobody thought that was weird. The Masons and the Eastern Star do similar things at people's funerals and stuff. They have their own rituals that they do. I know because I have family members who was part of Masons and who was part of the Eastern Star and stuff like that. And they had their funerals in a church. And then no matter how long that they didn't go to the, no matter how, you know what I'm saying, that they wasn't involved in those organization members come. They come and they do them rituals faithfully. That's why a lot of folk gonna bust the belly of hell wide open. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve me and my family. Because for me and my house, we worship Allah. La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. There is nothing worthy of worship besides Allah. Nothing. So with that, I done kept y'all 3 hours, but we needed to do so. I gotta go. But thank y'all for coming through. Thank y'all for the contribution and for listening. Hopefully, Allah allows whatever I've said to be of good to those who are listening, and any mistake that I have made is my own. And may Allah protect y'all from any mistake that I have made in my talk today. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host, is the Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.